Hello, and welcome back to He versus She, the show where two minds, two perspectives, and two very different ways of thinking come together to crack open the English language and show you exactly what's inside. I'm Aria.
And I'm Leo. And if you are watching this right now, it means you are serious about your English. You are not here to memorize lists. You are here to truly understand how this language works from the inside out.
And today is a big one, Leo. Today, we're talking about one of the most fascinating, most overused, most confusing little words in the entire English language.
A word so small, just 3 letters, and yet it carries the weight of an entire dictionary on its shoulders.
3 letters. G-E-T. Get.
Get.
And here's what I want you to do right now, wherever you are. Sitting on a bus, lying in bed, cooking dinner. I want you to think about the last 10 sentences you said or heard in English. I promise you, at least 3 of them had the word get in them.
And that is not an exaggeration. Linguists have studied this. The word get is one of the most frequently used verbs in spoken English. It appears more often than words like make, take, come, or go. It is everywhere.
Everywhere. And yet, and this is the beautiful paradox, most English learners are never taught why.
They are taught what get means in individual phrases. Get up, get ready, get tired, get it. But nobody explains the deeper logic. Nobody explains why native speakers instinctively reach for get instead of any other word.
And that gap, that missing explanation, is exactly what creates confusion. Because when a learner hears, I got it, they think it means I received something. But when they hear get going, they think, wait, going where? What does get have to do with going?
And then they hear she's getting tired, and they think, is she receiving tiredness? Is tiredness a package being delivered to her?
Which, honestly, is a very logical conclusion if nobody explains it properly.
Absolutely. And that right there is the psychology behind the confusion. English learners are taught to translate word for word, so get becomes receive or obtain in their minds. And then every time get appears in a new context, their brain short circuits.
So today, we are going to rewire that circuit completely. By the end of this episode, you will not just know what get means, you will feel it. You will understand the internal logic that connects every single use of this word.
And there is an internal logic. That is the most important thing to understand going in. Get is not random. It is not chaotic. Once you see the pattern, you cannot unsee it.
I love that. You cannot unsee it. Okay, Leo, set the stage. Give us the foundation. What is get at its absolute core?
Perfect. So at its absolute core, get is a verb of change and movement. That's the key. Every single use of get, no matter how different it looks on the surface, is connected to one of 2 ideas. Either something is moving from one place to another, or something is changing from one state to another.
Say that again slowly, because that is the sentence that is going to change everything for our listeners.
Get expresses movement or change. Physical movement, I got the package, meaning the package moved to me, or change of state. I got tired, meaning I moved from a state of being energetic to a state of being tired.
So even get tired is a movement. It's just an invisible one, a movement of your internal state.
Exactly. And once you see it that way, every confusing get phrase suddenly makes sense because you are always asking the same question. What moved or what changed?
Oh, I'm obsessed with this already. Let's go deep. Let's start with the most basic ones and build up. Walk us through get as receiving, the physical movement version.
Perfect. So the most literal use of get is obtaining or receiving something. I got a letter. She got a promotion. They got tickets to the concert. In every one of these sentences, something is moving toward the subject. The letter moved to me. The promotion moved to her. The tickets moved to them.
And this is the use that most learners know first, right? Because it's the most concrete. You can picture it. There's an actual object moving from point A to point B.
Correct. And it's also the reason why get replaced receive in everyday spoken English. Receive is formal, stiff, almost bureaucratic. Get is immediate. It feels real.
Imagine texting your friend, "I received your message." Nobody says that. You say, "I got your message."
And the meaning is identical, but the feeling is completely different. I received your message sounds like a legal notification. I got your message sounds like a human being.
And that warmth, that humanness, that's part of why get took over. It's the people's verb.
The people's verb. I like that.
Okay, so we have movement of objects, getting things. Now let's talk about the one that confuses people the most. Get plus an adjective. Get tired, get ready, get angry, get cold. This is where learners completely lose the plot.
And understandably so, because this requires a mental shift. In this structure, get is not about a physical object moving, it's about a condition changing. Get here functions almost identically to become.
So I got tired means I became tired.
Precisely. But here is why English speakers prefer get over become in speech. Become is slow, it is formal. It suggests a gradual, almost philosophical transformation. Get is immediate, it snaps.
I became tired versus I got tired.
Hear the difference? Became lingers, get lands. And in the speed of everyday conversation, get wins every time.
That is such a beautiful distinction, and it explains something I have noticed. Native speakers almost never say I became hungry. They always say I got hungry.
Always. Became is reserved for significant life changes. She became a doctor. He became famous. For everyday shifts in feeling or condition, it's always get. I got bored. I got excited. I got confused. I got nervous.
Which, by the way, is exactly how our listeners might be feeling right now if they're hearing this for the first time. A little bit of I got confused, and that is perfectly fine.
That is perfectly fine, because here's the good news. Once you internalize the core idea, movement or change, your brain starts to do the work automatically.
Let me give a real-life story here because I think this makes it land. I remember when I was first teaching a student. Her name was Yuki from Japan, and she came to me one afternoon almost in tears. She said, "Aria, I studied for 6 months, and I still don't understand get. Every time I think I know it, I hear it in a new way, and I feel lost again."
That is such a common experience, and it's heartbreaking because the student is not failing. The teaching method is failing the student.
Exactly. So I sat with Yuki and I drew a simple diagram. A circle on the left, your current state, an arrow pointing right, a circle on the right, your new state. And I said, get lives on that arrow. Whenever something crosses that arrow, whether it's a physical object or a feeling or a state of being, get is the word.
And did it click for her?
Immediately, she looked at the diagram, looked up at me, and said, "Oh, get is the arrow." And from that day, she never confused it again.
Get is the arrow. That's actually a remarkably precise description, because get always implies crossing a threshold. You were not tired, now you are. You didn't have the package, now you do. You were not ready, now you are.
The threshold. I love that. Cross the threshold and you need get.
Now, let's build on this with get plus a verb in the continuous form, because this is where the next level of confusion lives. Get going, get moving, get working. What's happening here?
Yes, because here, get is not alone. It's attached to another verb, and that verb is in the ing form. So what does that mean?
In this structure, get is functioning as a command or an encouragement to begin an action. It's the verb of initiation. Get going doesn't mean obtain going, it means start moving, cross the threshold from stillness into motion.
The arrow again.
Always the arrow. And notice the energy of these phrases: get moving, get working, get going. They're all slightly urgent. They carry a sense of stop being in your current state and enter a new one, now.
It's almost like get is a little push, a nudge across the threshold.
That's exactly what it is. And that nudge quality is why parents say it to children, get dressed, get ready, and why coaches say it to athletes, get moving, and why bosses say it in offices, let's get started.
And this is so important for learners to understand because the tone of get in these phrases is active and energetic. It's not passive, it's not gentle. When someone says get going, they mean business.
Which brings us to something fascinating about the psychology of get. It's inherently dynamic. It doesn't describe stillness, it describes transition. And that dynamic quality is part of why English speakers are so drawn to it.
Okay, let's pause here for our listeners and do something really practical. Leo, I want you to take the phrase get ready and break it down completely because I think this one phrase contains almost everything we've talked about so far.
Perfect example. Get ready. Let's dissect it. Get is our threshold verb. It signals a change of state is happening. Ready is the adjective. It describes the destination state. So the full meaning is move from the state of not being ready to the state of being ready.
And notice, it doesn't tell you how. It doesn't tell you what you need to do to get there. It just marks the end point of the change. You need to be on the other side of that arrow.
And that's why get ready is so efficient. 1 second you're not ready, the next, or rather after whatever process you need, you are. Get covers that entire journey in one word.
3 letters, covering an entire journey. That's extraordinary when you think about it.
English is extraordinary when you look at it closely enough.
Okay, now let's talk about the one that I think surprises people the most because it looks completely different from everything we've discussed. Get it, as in, do you get it? I get it. I don't get it. How does this connect to our arrow?
This is where get moves into the cognitive domain, and it's a beautiful evolution of the same core idea. Get it, meaning understand. What's happening there? You're moving from a state of not understanding to a state of understanding. The information crosses a threshold, from outside your mind to inside it.
Oh, the information is the object moving toward you, just like the letter, just like the package.
Exactly. The metaphor is almost physical. I got it. The idea landed. It reached me. It crossed from the speaker's mind to mine. And once it's there, I get it. Present tense. It's in me now.
And conversely, I don't get it means the idea is still out there somewhere. It hasn't reached me yet. The threshold has not been crossed.
Which is why get it feels so much more alive than understand it. I understand it is a statement of mental state. I get it is a statement of arrival. Something got through.
And this explains something I have always felt but never articulated. When something finally makes sense, when that light bulb moment happens, understand feels too slow. You say, oh, I get it, because it's sudden, it's a snap. The arrow just fired.
And that snap, that suddenness, is woven into the DNA of get. It's always about a moment of crossing, a moment of change, whether it's a letter arriving, a feeling setting in, or a concept finally landing in your brain.
And this is what we want every single listener to take away from this first section. Before we go deeper, before we talk about cultural differences and danger zones and idioms, understand this one thing. Get is the arrow. Get lives at the moment of change. Whatever changes, state, position, understanding, condition, get is there at the crossing point.
And when you watch English from now on, in movies and conversations and songs, you'll start to see it. Every get is an arrow. Every get is a threshold being crossed. And once you see it, you'll never be confused by it again.
The arrow cannot be unseen.
The arrow cannot be unseen.
We're just getting started, pun absolutely intended, and part 2 is going to go even deeper. We're going to look at the syntax, the cultural differences between American, British, and Canadian English, and the danger zone, the mistakes that even advanced speakers make with get.
Stay with us. This is where it gets really interesting.
Get interesting. There it is again.
It's inescapable.